I'd like to introduce our next speaker. He's the co-founder and CEO of Ululani Hawaiian Shave Ice. This has been quite an amazing journey. David Yamashiro opened Ululani's Hawaiian Shave Ice in a 65 square foot Lahaina shop in 2008 during the recession, bringing his fine dining background in flavor, pairing, and hospitality to reinvent shave ice. He's recognized as a key innovator of the new wave and gourmet shave ice movement, growing Ululani from a mom and pop to a beloved regional brand with a growing national and global presence. Today, Ululani operates multiple locations across Maui, Oahu, Kona, California, Texas, and Florida, and expansions underway in Waikiki, Sacramento, and beyond. Future plans include additional U.S. marketing, a training center in Las Vegas, and international locations in Japan and Australia. David will share branding strategies. This is important. We all need to know how to brand our business. And lessons learned and insights on building a business that stands out in above the competition. I'd like to present to you David Yamashiro.
Aloha, everyone. Inspire. What is it about a business that can get 10,000 plus customers and people to inquire about franchising? And this is from 49 countries as well as the United States. What is it about a business that can get people to come 2 weeks in a row every day? Sometimes we have one that came 5 times in one day. What is it about a business when they travel and open in the mainland that can get people to wait in line for 2.5 hours in Livermore, California, in Plano, Texas, in Chula Vista, California? This is a story about our journey from a small mom and pop shop in Lahaina to a growing, viable small business. My name is David Yamashiro, CEO and co-founder of Ululani's. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is our co-founding team. Ulu, to my left up here, aside from being my wife, she's also a co-founder. She is in charge of so many departments. She's an incredible business partner, wife, grandma, and mom. Next slide, please. No, go back, please. Go back, yes, thank you. To my right is Brad Edgerton. You might look a little out of place because he's an older, howly guy, but right now he's one of my best friends. But in addition to that, he was my best friend's husband growing up. So I've known Janice, his wife, for over 45 years. And she's been my best friend, and I've known him ever since they got married. Next slide, please. So my family background, the reason God inspired is part of the topic of this speech is because my dad and my brother were both ministers, are both ministers. My dad passed away recently, but my brother, Danny Yamashiro, he's a global minister. But Christianity and going to church ran deep in my family, but for me, I was the black sheep of the family. You know, that little sheep there, that was me. We had to go to Sunday school, we had to go to church every Sunday, and I would be the guy that would be climbing up the church roof in the sanctuary, making all kinds of noise, going home and getting dirty licking from my dad. I also, unlike Isaac, I am not a Kamehameha graduate. I was kicked out of Kamehameha in the 6th grade. Kicked out of Ululani my sophomore year. Kicked out of Farrington my junior year. Luckily, I graduated from Radford. Went to junior college, got kicked out of my football team, But fortunately for me, I still got a full scholarship back to University of Hawaii for football. Ulu and I got married in 1993, and whereupon we moved to the Pacific Northwest. She started Shave Ice with she started it, and another person joined her as a partner down the road, and it was called Noka Oi Hawaiian Shave Ice at the time. As partnerships go, it didn't really work out, but when Ulu wanted to separate, she gave the partner everything, and all she wanted to do was retain the name Noka Oi Hawaiian Shave. But the partner still used the name. So what she did was she named it Ululani's. And this is after prayer, this is after talking with my sister at the time, Diva, and they came up with Ululani's. Of course, that's her name, but Ululani's means heavenly or divine inspiration. And Ululani's has been an inspiration to us, to our family, and also to the Maui community. Our decision to come home was funny. Every year for 15 years, we lived up there for 15 years, went on the 5-year plan and stayed for 15. But every year we'd come back to Oahu, and when we went back to the Pacific Northwest, she would say, David, I really want to move back home. And I would pacify her for a couple weeks and until she forgot about it, and another year would go on. But on this 15th year, something clicked. Something was very heavy in her voice. Anyway, ultimately, we decided to come back home to Hawaii, but the thought was to go to Oahu and live there. The decision, to come to Maui was pretty crazy. When I say that God has inspired our journey, there's so many incidences that have happened that lead to his presence and his guidance in that. So my sister, Ululani, was living on Maui. She still lives on Maui. But she said, Junior, they call me Junior, why don't you move to Maui? You can stay with me and you can open in, here. There's not as much competition as the competition that we grew up with on Oahu. After deliberation, we thought about it, prayed about it, and we decided to inquire about it. So Ulu went online, and she found this small little shop, 65 square feet in Lahaina. And the next day, she flew to Lahaina, flew to Maui, went to Lahaina, looked at the spot, and that became our location. So, it's a crazy thing because we're trying to decide what to do. How did we come up with doing Shave Ice? I was in fine dining, I was in the mortgage industry, she was in sales. Anyway, she was also doing Shave Ice every summer for the past 6 years, for the previous 6 years. And what she did was, she just prayed to God one day. We're traveling, we're on a soccer trip, and she said, God, you're gonna have to hit me in the head. Please give me a sign of what you want us to do. And lo and behold, we're caravanning for a soccer tournament, and somebody had to make shishi in the front van. So the front car veered off, went into this vacant parking lot, and in the middle of the parking lot was this huge shave ice in the Pacific Northwest in Spokane. So it was really crazy. Anyway, to make a long story short, God has been intertwined in everything that we've done. Next slide, please. So Ulu grew up in Kalihi. I grew up in Wanaloa. This is one of our first events in Portland, Oregon. Next slide, please. By the way, that was my oldest daughter on the right side, my youngest daughter, Malia, on the behind. So the beginning. Next slide, please. So from a mom and pop shop business, the origins of Ululani Shave Ice. Now, first of all, what is the definition of a mom and pop shop? For me, a mom and pop shop is a family-owned business that has been reliant on their own efforts, their own thoughts. And, literally, a lot of mom and pop shops, they're there, they support themselves, but they also provide for their children to go to school, for their needs. And what takes a mom and pop shop like us to becoming a viable small business? That is what, again, I'm going to be relating to you. The inspiration behind the brand, it's Ululani. And how we started a small family venture. You can't get any smaller than a 65 square foot shop. The challenges that we faced in the early days includes competition. Well, next slide, please. So a few things that happened. By the way, this is a curveball for me because I must have sent the wrong slide presentation because this is totally off from the latest version that I had. So don't mind me, I'll try to work through this. But for one, when we started in 2008, it was the middle of the recession. And it was a bad recession. When we opened, so many shops around us were closed. There were hardly any customers on Front Street in Lahaina walking around. I was living in Kula. We're talking about an hour away, both ways. We lacked visibility. We were in a small little courtyard at the poi factory in Lahaina, and literally the shop was 25 feet away from the sidewalk. There was a lack of demand. Nobody wanted shave ice. I went around I passed out 100 flyers to the surrounding businesses, to the employees, to the owners, to the residents, for them to get free shave ice. And they all said, oh, great, we'll be right there. Anyway, nobody came. For the first month, literally 5 of the people that I gave those flyers to came for shave ice. But as time went on, as we got more and more popular, they would come to me and say, Uncle, you give me that flyer for free shave ice. I lost my flyer. Can I please get another one? By that time, we were too busy for me to acknowledge that. We got open, but we had little to no funding. Definitely didn't have any reserves. I was by myself for 4 months because Ulu was still back in the mainland. I had to pick up equipment and purchases all over Maui. We had no marketing budget, but social media was just becoming present, and I'll go through that a little bit more. But we needed to build our brand, Ululani's Hawaiian Shave Ice. Next slide, please. So this was our shop. This is what 65 square feet looks like. It really didn't look that dismal because it was in color. There was pop to it. But next slide, please. So the beginning of a mom and pop shop. Next slide, please. What's a particularly busy day? The first month, literally, it was me doing 10 to 15 shave ice per day, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock p.m. Sometimes I would stay till 12. Moose McGillicuddy's was open until 2, so there were times that people would come and I would be more than happy to serve them. Now it's a little bit different. You know, we've impacted a lot of people. You know, for one, you really don't know what people are going through in their life. When they come to your shop, or when they come to the window and they want to order, if they don't respond in the manner in which you think they should respond, you know, you could be hurt, you could get angry, you could get, you know, disappointed. And I'm talking about between not only ourselves, but for our staff. You don't know whether or not they lost their mom, they just lost their dad, they lost their brother. You don't know if they just lost their job. You don't know whether or not they just found out that they had cancer. There's so many different things that could be the reason for them responding in the way that they are. Just be kind, be nice, you know, show gratitude. You know, I had a mom and a son come to our shop, and the mom was urging her son to order, and the son was looking at his mom and saying, no, you know, and the mom kept urging him, please, please, just go ahead and order. Anyway, I leaned over and I said, hey, little guy, how's it going? Tell me what you want, and then we can go ahead and make it. And he's, no, I mean, very, very fervently, just shaking his head. And I said, come on, you can do it. Literally for over a minute and a half, 2 minutes, he was saying no. And I said, come on, just tell me what your favorite flavor is, and that can be the start of it. He said, vanilla. And now that was after a minute and a half. And I said, wow, great job, that was wonderful. What's another flavor? You can have 3 flavors. And he's looking at his mom and saying, and I say, come on, you can do it. You did really good on the first one. What's another flavor that you would like? Banana. Wow, great job. You know, vanilla and banana, wonderful. But you can pick a 3rd flavor. And he's like, I'm like trying his patience, you know, to the max. He's like, I said, come on, you can do it. Just one more time. So he said, after a minute or so, cherry. I said, great job, that's one of our rainbows. You did a really good job in selecting that. He looks at his mom, I look at the mom, and the mom is crying. So she mouths the words, and I'm looking at her and I'm thinking to myself, thank you for what? I didn't do anything. So I make the shave ice, I pass it off to the mom and to the boy. She has the boy go on the side, and she says, thank you so much. I said, I didn't do anything, you know. She said, you have no idea. That's the first time that he ever started something, finished something, and was given positive reinforcement for doing it. And again, she was crying, made me tear up. I still tear up when I see it, but this is just one story amongst many, many that have endeared us, our brand, to Shave Ice, to the customers. Next slide, please. So building. Next slide, please. Yeah, I'm really sorry. This slide presentation is really off, but it is my fault. I sent the wrong one. This should be after. It's resulted in this, you know, on Maui, but please go to the next slide. So ingredients matter. You know, when Isaac talked about ingredients and recipes, they matter tremendously. So what we do that is differently. We were one of the first. We were we are considered to be the innovators of the new wave of shave ice, of gourmet shave ice. So for us at that time, Maui water is good water, but when we were living in the mainland, we wanted to use purified water. So when we came here, purified water was one of the things that we went with. Pure cane sugar at the time, high fructose corn syrup was a big piece. But we went with pure cane sugar. The tastes were all built on Ulu and myself, our taste buds. We started using purees for instead of local fruit, which we were using some of, we opted to go with purees for the most part, local when available, because there's seasons. There's times that they're available, there's times that there's not, there's times that the fruit is more powerful, and there's times that it's less, Anyway, on the add-on side, we either used Maui's Best or we made it ourselves. On the ice cream side, we opted to use Ululani ice cream. So Ululani, whether you realize it or not, they actually have 3 different tiers of ice cream. They have an economy tier, they have a premium tier, which is in all the grocery stores, and they have a gourmet tier. And the gourmet tier is in some of the fine dining restaurants, some of the high-end hotels. But even though we're challenged in terms of spending for our ingredients, we opted to go with the gourmet line. At the time, in addition to that, on the mochi side, we wanted to serve Maui's best mochi. And for us, that was Maui Specialty Chocolates. We talked to them. They were friends with my sister, but they made mochi for us every single day for, I think it was at least 4 or 5 years. At the time, we were making our own azuki beans, we were making our lihimui drizzle. A lot of things we opted to do just to enhance that gourmet experience, and we managed to succeed at that. More recently, we just came up with our new sugar-free recipe, and our sugar-free flavors are definitely going to be better than what anybody has tried in the past. We also came up with our own lihimui powder. There's been a shortage many times of lihimui powder. So anyway, we've innovated and come up with our own on that as well. But through it all, a lot of my fine dining experience was what we applied to our Ululani shave ice. And by that I mean, most of the time, even the shave ice shops that we went through when we were growing up, we're talking about Matsumoto's, Wyola's, Baldwin, Shimazu's. Shimazu's is called BNS at the time. This is on Oahu. The thing that they did was they had great product, but the service was lacking. It was always like a shave ice Nazi. You don't order right, go in the back of the line, Anyway, taking that fine dining experience and being able to give someone an explanation. This is what this flavor tastes like. Well, what is this? Well, and I can describe it. Oh, you don't want to order that together. That combination, it's going to be really contradicting. Let me suggest this. This is really a complementary combination for you. Or this is contrasting flavors, but it really goes well together. So guiding that experience, at the time, some people were still using their bare hands to make the shave ice. Again, we're using our gloves. When we pass out a straw or a spoon, we're making sure that we're not doing it on the side that they're going to be putting their lips on it or their mouth. All of these little things were implemented to give them a more fine dining experience. Next slide, please. So the role of social media. Like I said, for the first month, we had literally, hardly any business. But social media was around at the time. So TripAdvisor, extremely popular, Yelp, Facebook after a while became there. But due to the experiences that we were delivering on the product side and on the experience side, we started getting it was all 5-star reviews. 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. The word of mouth was spreading. So a lot of you, in terms of when you having your own business, whether or not it's a restaurant or not, whether you can afford this or not, one of the strategies that I used was, what I told some of our regular customers that were coming around, hey, bring one of your friends. If it's their first time having shave ice from us, we'll give it to them for free. And it was crazy. All of a sudden, they were bringing people from Kihei, from Kula, from Haiku, and they were driving people that had not come to Lahaina for 20 years were coming to get shave ice from us because the first one was free. It was no effort on the person inviting them, but the word grew. Not only did the word spread, but our demand did. There's a lot of key moments that contributed to our brand recognition. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So, to be acknowledged as I'm going to say, as a gourmet product, to be acknowledged as one of the best shave ice. Now, how many of you have had our shave ice in this room? Thank you very much. How many have not? It's pretty difficult to describe, but some of the early recognition that we got, there was a couple of food critics. I didn't realize that they were authors at the time, but they came and I served them. And they were asking about the flavors. I described the flavors, I described the pairings, I had them taste different things that they had never tasted before. Anyway, they put us in their top Maui restaurant book. Now we're talking about Mama's, Spago, Capiche, all of the top restaurants. And check this out, they gave us the top score. So that was an incredible, incredible achievement to be acknowledged as that. At the same time, we were having food critics coming in from Oahu, because everyone wants to compare us to Oahu shave ice. And it's crazy, the acknowledgement and the affirmation that we had from that. We were featured as the main restaurant in the dining section of the Noko'oi magazine in an article called 5-Star Shave Ice by Shannon Winecki. We were acknowledged by Food and Wine magazine as one of America's best regional desserts. We've had Food Network live feeds with 28 million views. We've had, in the movie Father Figures, we had two of the main characters, Ed Helms, it was Ed Helms and Owen Wilson. Ed Helms had our shirt on and was wearing it for the last minute and 40 seconds of the movie, showing Ululani's Hawaiian shave ice on screen. In September 24th, the Royalty Family, it's a YouTube, they're very popular on YouTube. I think they have 60-something million followers. But that piece had 32 million views. The Ipono Awards, which is something that all of us covet, any restaurant covets the gold. They actually had to created a new category for our shave ice, because prior to that, in their minds, in so many people's minds, there's no reason to create shave ice is shave ice. That's what people tend to think. We have one of our taglines is, all shave ice is not created equal. And that's something that we trademarked, and it's a registered trademark at this point. Next slide, please. Oh, by the way, we have won the gold every year since they implemented that category. Visual branding. I know that I'm going longer because this slide is longer, so I'm going to be scrolling through a lot faster. When you get your name, what's your thought process behind it? What have you done to protect it? A lot of times, for us, what we've done is things that we've trademarked. It's really more a protection for us that nobody's going to come against us later on down the road. That, hey, we have this trademarked and protected. You don't have the authorization to use it. So we have trademarked a lot of different pieces. Ululani's gourmet Hawaiian shave ice. All shave ice is not created equal. Shavista, merchandise, aloha-tude. Aloha-tude is the spirit of aloha with gratitude. Next slide, please. Again, you never know what is going on in someone's life. Be nice, be kind, share aloha. This is what we've done, and we had no idea of the impact of what that would mean and how much people have been drawn to our brand, to our shave ice, to our company as a result. Next slide, please. Expansion. Thank you. So I'm going to share a story with you. In 2012, we, again, from the very beginning, we've had franchise inquiries, but over the course of time, over 10,000 franchise inquiries. But one franchise inquiry in particular, I was working at a shop and they came. And anyway, we opted to partner with this two ladies. And anyway, in one of our first meetings together, she was at a whiteboard. We're in a conference room. And she's saying, okay, she puts David, Ulu, Brad down. Who does the marketing? Who does the hiring? Who picks up, who does the deliveries? Who does the ordering? I'm putting up my hand for everything. You know, and Ulu's list was shorter, Brad's was short. But at the same time, so my list was really long, and I was proud of it. I was super proud of that. But she said, and then at the same time, we got a phone call, and on Ulu's phone, and our Kahalui shop was out of Strawberry. So Ulu started packing up her stuff, getting ready, and this person's name is Iris. And Iris says, where are you going? Oh, we were out of strawberry syrup. I'm going to go and make. And she says, just stay there. They're adults. They've been with you for a long time. They'll figure it out. They can have them do another flavor. But you don't have to jump up and do something, you know, at this moment. So anyway, what it boiled down to was she said, if your business can survive for 30 days without you contacting your team or your team contacting you, then you have a viable business. If you do not, you have a job. And that lesson there led us to a lot of different pieces. So again, in another slide I'll show you, but what do you do during your high season? So for us, high season is the summer season, spring break, that little window during Christmas when people are out of school. For a lot of businesses, it could be during the summer, maybe because of school, you know, the kids are out. But what is your high season? So during our high season, what we do is we do our best to optimize our revenue during that season. And what does that mean? During the high season, if we can, we open longer hours. If we can, we have somebody else added onto the shift so that we can put the product out faster. We put our merchandise, feature more of our merchandise at that point to increase the sales. And you also do your best to create multiple visits from the same customer. And again, we've managed to succeed in having people come every day for a week, for 2 weeks, and that's a pretty awesome accomplishment. So our marketing budget, we haven't had to spend any money on our marketing budget. And that's a big factor. But one thing for you to consider, Isaac said the same thing, quantity versus quality. Obviously, we opted for the quality piece, but that does come with its own headaches at the same time. Obviously, if you go for quality, for us, our speed. Okay. Next slide, please. On the low season, feature on future efficiency. Review your COGS. What is it? Your COGS, your labor, your overhead. What is it that you can do to optimize that? Next slide, please. Calculated expansion, budget for expansion. Now, one of the things that we did that was costly for us was we funded all of our expansion. We put all of our money back into the business. This is not always the smartest thing to do. Here we are busy, looking like we were making a killing, and we were broke, So what is it that you can do? We're not in the same situation, but that's a situation that you could be in if you went that route. Next slide, please. Our decision to expand beyond Hawaii, we opted to go with franchising because otherwise we'd be putting our own money to continuously build. And with the franchising, that's provided us the opportunity to share our brand, share our aloha with a little bit more. Next slide, please. So these are, back please. These are some of the slides that we have, shots of our different companies that we've opened, franchises in the mainland. Next slide, please. Reputation. We have a stellar reputation, and to me, you need that. Next slide, please. The future, our future is bright. Anyway, my time is coming up, but I did want to go to our last slide, please. It's a video.
Aloha. Welcome to Ululani's Hawaiian Shave Ice,
where it is our mission to make and serve the best tasting shave ice in the world.
We serve the best tasting shave ice in the world.
and to serve it with aloha-tude.
The spirit of aloha with gratitude.
To create memories.
To create memories
That'll last a lifetime.
Create special memories
That will last a lifetime.
All shave ice is not created equal.
All shave ice is not created equal.
We are
Shave ice experts
And leaders in the shave ice world.
and leaders in the shave ice world. We are innovative,
Innovative.
Intentional.
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 kind.
and caring.
we all work hard
We also provide opportunity
for the team to grow.
We strive for excellence.
Strive for excellence.
work together,
Work together.
Work together.
As a team,
As a team.
take pride,
Pride in what we do.
It takes open communication and unselfishness.
And unselfishness.
And selfishness.
to get through each day,
We want you to have fun, laugh,
and enjoy each other's company.
But it is our goal to share our aloha-tude.
The spirit of aloha.
with gratitude.
the aloha-tude.
With aloha-tude.
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 Because we know that we have the power.
To make a positive difference.
In someone's life.
We are Ululanis.
We are Ululanis.
We are Ululani.
We are
Ululanis.
We are Ululanis.
We are Ululanis.
We are Ululani.
We are Ululani.
We are Ululanis.
Thank you. I did want to share one more thing because the slide was cut from the presentation. Our team has been incredible. We have a wonderful team that has been committed. We have one of our team members that have been with us for pretty much 17 years, almost 17 years. And the love, the care, the commitment to our brand, to our company is incredible. So I just wanted to thank them as well.
Yes. At this time, we'd like to ask our folks out here if they have any questions. At this time, I'll bring you the microphone. Yes. If you can say your name and your question.
Hello, my name is Darius. What was one of the lowest points that you had faced during your building the business, and how did you persevere through it?
Well, that's a pretty crazy. Hello, check this. That's a really difficult question because there's been a number of them. You know, one was COVID. Two was the Lahaina fires. The Lahaina fires, we lost 2 of our shops. We lost our warehouse. We had another shop in Ka'anapali at the Hyatt that we shut down. And we also, ultimately, we shut down our Paia shop as a result. Fortunately for us, we had already started franchising. So our Lahaina shop was really 40% of our revenue was from that. So if you can imagine our infrastructure and all the, you know, all of our different expenses, to have that much revenue cut was a big, big challenge, but we were able to make it. Thank you for the question, Darius.
Do we have another question? Oh my goodness. I'm coming. Keep your hand up. So
By the way, I really appreciate your attentiveness and your responses. Thank you.
How many franchises do you have? Oh, my name's Chris. How many franchises do you have at the moment?
Right now, I think we have we'll have 17 or 18, including Maui. Over the next month, we should be opening at the Maui Ocean Center. Next weekend, we'll be opening in Waikiki. And before the end of the year, we're hoping to open in Sacramento, California.
Aloha, my name is Erin. I'm familiar with the Kihei location and the line. Like, how do you get customers to stand in that line, which is 90-degree weather, day in and day out? What do they say when they get to the front of the counter?
Well, the first thing that we say is, thank you very much for waiting. We appreciate your patience. You know, and just that little statement alone puts them at ease. At least they know that their wait was recognized, and at the same time, we devote our full attention to them that are at our window. And that dispels a lot of the apprehension that they may have had. Now, I'm going to couple that on. 1 hour is not bad, but in the mainland, to have people waiting 2.5 hours and not complaining for 2.5 hours, that's a feat in itself. Yeah. So what we've realized, what we have to do is we have to focus more on what we can do to expedite our process without compromising the quality of our product.
Hey, David. Aloha. Charles Keoho.
Hey, Charles. How's it, man?
Any thoughts about going into some of the military bases where you've got a huge community in every one of them?
I can't hear.
Any thoughts about taking Ululanis into American military bases because you've got a huge community in every one of them? Thank you.
That has not been a factor in our thoughts. Currently, what we do is literally we have 25 requests to franchise coming into us every week. So every one of our franchisees has been ex-customers, and for us, they know what their expectations are, and they want to share that with their community. So it's a but we haven't had anyone with a focal point on military bases as of this point.
Hello, I'm Roy. Awesome presentation. Could you expand or even just give somebody an idea of a starting point? I always, the idea of franchising, everything's built on systems to be duplicatable. For somebody who is a retailer or in the food business, a beginning point to get into how to establish a system that will work when they walk away from their business.
So that is definitely a challenge. But to go from a mom and pop shop to a viable small business, standard operating procedures or SOPs are critical. And through our growth, what we've done between standard operating procedures as well as the HR piece, the interviewing, the hiring, the onboarding, the paperwork, all of these pieces are very, very critical, not to mention having your legal set up, having your, there's just so many different things that you need to do in order to make that step. But you cannot scale without having these pieces in place. So it's a work in progress, but it's definitely something that you can accomplish. We managed to accomplish it, but we had a really strong leadership team that provided us a lot of, they did a lot of the legwork for us.
Let's give a big round of applause for David Yamashiro. What a wonderful storyline.